Welcome to In the News. I'm your host, Ryan, with our hosts, Deshaun and Matt. Today we're going to cover two main topics, the State of the Union and the Ukrainian war and its after effects. Potential after effects, obviously, it's not over yet, and an observation of how it's currently going. So with that, I think I'll hand this off to Matt or Deshaun. Do you want to start with going into the State of the Union?
I'll start.
Yeah, go for it.
So, pretty much, I don't have a lot to say on it. It's like what you would expect from Biden. He didn't say anything crazy or anything radical. But from the few things that were interesting to me, he mentioned Ukraine a bit when he talked about what was it? I forgot the exact words he used, but he called what Putin was doing in Ukraine a tyranny. And I have the speech right here, if I can find it. Here we go. And he says, and with an unwavering resolve that freedom will always triumph over tyranny. And then he talks about Putin shaking the foundations of the free world so he could bend it to his menacing ways, talking about the Ukrainian invasion.
Okay.
And I find this part interesting. It's because we do stuff like this all the time, where it's like we're doing power plays and we're doing things. I mean, I'm not saying anything.
You're not wrong.
But it's like when other countries do it, we're like, oh, this is undemocratic, injustice, we must stop it. But like, you just ignored the past 20 times we did it. Basically, and whenever anybody brings it up, they call you unpatriotic.
Yeah, I know I forgot who it was. It was some British news agency. They were interviewing, I think it was Lavrov, like through Zoom. And they basically asked him how he could ignore what he thought of like innocent children and civilians getting killed. And he basically said exactly what you said, like, well, you guys didn't make this a big issue when you guys invaded Iraq.
People are like, oh, why is nobody doing anything? It's like, dude, this stuff happens all the time, and we're the ones doing it.
It's for geostrategic reasons.
Yeah, Putin
no country gonna
no country. And they can make up theirs.
Yes, no country obviously gonna admit that we're doing stuff bad. Nobody's gonna be like, yes, the thing I did was bad. Every country just because it's okay. So, my thing is I'm kind of biased on this because when it comes to international relations, I will say that even though each of these types of systems can be used as tools to predict a country's actions, I am a realist. I believe in international realism, and every country is out for itself in an inherently chaotic system. So.
Well, I don't think that. I disagree with that. Like, I just don't think that we should.
Yeah, no. I'm agreeing with you. I think by each country is going to do this, and I think it's rather naive. I think the most naive thing that comes out of this, and we'll probably need to cover this more later to get back into this, but the most naive thing that I think people can do is say that there's a good guy or a bad guy in war. It's like, no, the Ukrainians are the good. Like, yeah, I agree. I support the Ukrainians, but I'm not naive enough to think that to classify good and bad in a war. It's a war. Yeah, everyone's just trying to live and trying to survive.
I think in some cases there are cases where you could say, oh, there's a side that we definitely should be supporting. Like, I don't think anybody in World War II would be saying, yeah, Hitler. It's kind of morally gray. I don't know if he could just fight Hitler and the Nazis.
I mean, I feel like his allies would
disagree. But I think in a lot of more modern conflicts, I think in a lot of cases, it's like both sides are fighting for the exact same reasons. There's not really anybody that has the moral high ground.
Yeah, well, I think it's because more in modern conflicts, you see it becoming more wars are less about ideology or religion and more about securing a strategic position. To ensure either economic security or military security, or even maybe political security in some cases.
That's why I found that part of Biden's speech so interesting, because he's condemning what the Russians are doing, and he's like, look at the Russians and how evil they are and tyrannical they are, and it's like we're doing the exact same thing in 10 different countries.
Well, obviously, then that wouldn't give us in this case, we need to take the moral high ground among our allies in order to secure, if you don't have public support, Biden needs public support and this definitely is a situation that definitely you need public support from your allies and the domestic world. So
Yeah,
obviously,
definitely. I think the vast
obviously,
majority of people are going to read that speech, or they're going to listen to the speech, and they're going to think, "Yeah, I agree with this. Like the Russians is being tyrannical, and we need to be
which is
like the
true,
liberators
I
of
guess you
Ukraine."
could say. But
Yeah, I would say it's true.
but like all in all, I think each country is looking out for itself in the end.
Do you guys think that there'd be this kind of reaction when China invades Taiwan?
We're probably going to join. Honestly,
I don't think countries are going to be so lax about it. At least not us, because like we're more intertwined with Taiwan than
Taiwan
we are
has a
Ukraine.
greater position in terms of if China takes it, we're kind of screwed because Taiwan is like the main producer of semiconductors. So if China kind of takes that, we're kind of just, to put it bluntly, fucked. Because they control the tech server.
But would there be like all these like sanctions and condemnations and just basically a complete ripping out?
Well, there probably might just be a war at that point. There probably just be a war.
I think they might start with sanctions, but I don't think they would let it go on this long. I think we would resort to military conflict a lot quicker than we would with Ukraine.
Yeah, especially since
we're a lot more intertwined with them.
Yeah, and in this case, to put it rather so, let's say a war does break out. God forbidding, it does, between Taiwan and China. The chances of us getting involved, I would say, I put it like an 80 to 90% chance, because it would be ensuring if China were to control Taiwan, it would just basically be an absolute disaster for the United States. Teaming that up with, we have a significantly larger nuclear arsenal than China, which means, unlike, let's say it does devolve into nuclear war, I think the U.S. would feel particularly more comfortable with going to war with a country that has a significantly smaller amount of nuclear armaments than, let's say, Russia.
So going back to the State of the Union, overall, what do you guys think? Like, was it enough to say it was a decent, or was it just bad?
I mean, it was decent. It kind of works out.
I would say it's like average.
Okay. About, like, average State of the Union works out for me, because it's like, funds police. Basically, like, average centrists.
Pretty much everything he said. Like, as for a State of the Union, it's average, not bad, nothing special.
There was that one part when he accidentally called the Ukrainians the Iranians. That was kind of awkward.
That was pretty awkward, and you could see Kamala just like squirming a bit. Like
Kamala, yeah, she was like shit. There was the Iranian president, though. The former Iranian president has come out in support of Ukraine.
Can you imagine? Like, what kind of timeline are we in where the U.S., NATO, the Taliban, and Iran are on the same side?
Yes, it's I think it was Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. His name's so weird. I'm gonna be real there. And then who's like, we must stand with Ukraine. Although he still doesn't like the U.S. I think his views is that like the U.S., China, and Russia are in cahoots apparently to divide the world.
I've seen people, like, when the Taliban released that statement, everybody was shocked. Honestly, like, it kind of makes sense, because, like, isn't what, like, all they wanted was, like, reclaim what they view as, like, their legitimate, like, where they view to be their legitimate lands. Like, it's not like they're just like, we're gonna, like, go kill as many people as we can. They're just like, no, we just want to take back the land that we view as ours.
Yeah, I think they have.
I'm not really surprised by them taking Ukraine's side, because, like, they're kind of in the same boat where they're just trying to protect what they view to be their property.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's just kind of funny that we've ended up that when international relations policy between the U.S., the Taliban, and Iran have kind of coincided at this particular very short moment, and then after it, we're going to be back at each other's throats.
Yeah, we just
although it seems like the Taliban might be down with it. It seems that the Taliban's willing to just trade with us and keep relations as long as we, be like, sorry, guys.
Now they got to be a legitimate country, so.
Yeah. That's got to be awkward.
Well, this one for the State of the Union.
I would like to say that every far leftist that was like, don't worry, guys, we're going to push Biden left. Take this L right now. Like, how does it State of the Union, funding police, bringing back oil pipelines, militaries, take this L right now? I'm hating it out.
some leftists in this other political org, and they were like, because we were talking about how you could achieve breaking the establishment, and they're like, and I was telling them that I didn't support Biden and I didn't support Hillary, and they were basically saying that Trump, that I enable Trump and fascism rising to power by not voting for Hillary and Biden. They're like, oh, you're enabling the far right. And I'm like, I'm sleeping good at night knowing I'm not voting for these war criminals, corrupt people into power while you guys are doing the exact same and then act surprised when they act corrupt. It wasn't obviously clear before. It's like, I don't know what you're expecting.
They were like, don't worry, guys. Biden will push him left any day now.
It's like, dude, if we just get him elected, we will have influence. Like, okay, bud. They're gonna do the exact same thing they were doing before, and then you're gonna.
Here's the thing, though. Biden doesn't even need them. They're not. I feel like they give themselves much more weight as voters than actually. Yeah. Same with the far right. Neither side cares about you need those moderates. No way, Biden. If Biden was going out there being like, we will cut all funding from the police, that would be it. He would not win.
Oh yeah, no. I'd be surprised if they didn't try to impeach him for something like that. What do you guys think of the upcoming midterm elections?
The Democrats are going to be screwed. This is going to be hilarious.
We're going to get wiped.
It's funny because they're already being like, guys, the Republicans are trying to rig the election.
I can't wait. I'm waiting for both sides to switch on election fraud.
Yeah, no, you already know. I think Stacey Abrams didn't last election. She said it was rigged too, so that's about to show up again. It was rigged against me.
Save the date. When's the election? November 3rd or something? Save the date. The Democrats will come out in favor of election fraud allegations, and the Republicans will say that our elections are the most secure in history. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then they'll switch again in 2024.
God, this is such a mess. This all started off in 2016 when they're like, no, the Russians, they got Trump in, and then 2020 is like, Trump's like, no, Biden rigged it.
The Democrats are the ones who started this whole election fraud thing.
They kind of did. Oh my God. Okay. I say this every time. The Democrats always start a trend, but then they suck at it and lose. They started with the whole blocking court nominations and getting rid of the nuclear option, and then the Republicans came back and got in a bunch of justices and judges even more efficiently. Then they did the rigging thing. They did an investigation, nothing came of it. Then Trump did the rigging thing, and literally a massive incident broke out because of it. I feel like every time the Democrats just start trends and they suck.
What I find funny about that is the Democrats and people on the left, they're like, oh, even after a year, Trump and his base still won't drop the 2020 the big lie myth. But yet the Democrats still, 5-6 years later, they still will not drop the Russia stuff. They're obsessed. They just can't get it out of their mind. Trump is no longer president, and they're still talking about it.
It's funny. That's actually probably going to help him because he doesn't even need to the biggest thing about him needing to run in 2024 is keeping an active base. And if the Democrats just keep bringing him up, he doesn't even need to do anything. He just got to chill until the election.
Yeah, that'd be exactly what happened in 2016.
Okay, so basically, all in all, State of the Union was good. To nobody's surprise, except for maybe if you were far left, Biden is a centrist for the most part. Anything else we want to cover there?
Not that I know of. Midterm elections are going to be probably more contentious than.
That's going to be great. How much you bet? I bet the Republicans are going to get something like 230 seats or something, and the Dems are going to be like, this is impossible.
The Republicans will win 55 to 57 Senate seats. That's what I'm predicting.
Imagine they see that, man.
Honestly, they got potential to get 60, but I'm gonna keep it reasonable. 55.
No way. They have the potential to get that many, but it's unlikely.
I'm reasonable. 55 to 57.
Yeah, I would. Probably won't happen. But if the Republicans get 60 Senate seats and get a supermajority in the House,
it's over. Every single Democrat legislation is about to get repealed. You know what? They could do whatever they want.
Yeah. I think don't they have enough? I think they have enough states to amend the Constitution, right?
Who, the Republicans?
Yeah. No, wait. They actually might be down by 3 states.
Yeah, I think they're down.
So. You need what is it?
You need 3/4. But the Republicans have they have the most delegations. I think state by state. I think I forget who it was that they're there's a couple states trying to amend the Constitution right now. I forget what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to add term limits on a congressman, I think. Or no, it was something.
I know there is a movement going around somewhere where like they've gotten a few state legislatures to sign on to it.
Yeah,
Are you guys talking about the popular vote compact thing?
No,
not that, because that's let's see. I'm trying to find it. There was like a whole thing, and it's equal rights amendment. Okay, there's a news story about the equal rights amendment. That stuff basically failed like 10 years ago, didn't it? Like, it didn't pass the deadline.
Right. Oh, man, I forgot the name of it, though.
Yeah, no, I'm forgetting the name, too. But the equal rights amendment I don't get, because... okay, how can it pass if it failed the deadline? Like, if there was a deadline, it didn't get through the deadline. So if they do pass it, are they just, like, there's, like, enough contention to just ignore it? Like, you can argue and just ignore it, because there's, you know...
Yeah, I don't really know what it's called, but I think we're gonna have to wrap it up because I gotta head out. So I'll just take us out then. This has been In the News. I've been your host Matt, your co-host Sean and Riot. Hope to see you again soon. If you be sure to like and subscribe so we can get those algorithms to work for us. It really does help us. Make sure to leave a comment with whatever you liked or didn't like. We're always looking for some good constructive criticism, if any. But until next time, have a good one.